Hi, everyone. It is my favorite day and yours. It is Monday. It is Mothers of Multifamily. And oh my goodness, I have the most incredible woman. And usually I will read people's bios, but her story is it's so life-changing and so just amazing. I need her to actually tell it to you guys. So everyone, please welcome Edna Keep. Welcome, Edna.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be on.
Thank you so much for coming back on. So Edna Keep was on our show many moons ago. I will leave that in the show notes. You need to take a look at that. So Edna, my one question for all my mommies out there, how do you do it? How have you experienced motherhood and experienced this amazing entrepreneurship, amazing empire that you've built? How have you done this?
Well, I believe we all have to have help in some sense. So I've actually had hired coaches all along to give me shortcuts because I don't have time to learn everything all by myself, right? So that's a big one. My girls were actually 3 and 5, my two youngest, when I started real estate. So we took them on calls, looking at buildings with us, and right around the time we were actually building a new house. And they liked going into the new houses and looking at all the fancy furniture and stuff, but they didn't like going into rentals. They didn't like that. They thought, like, we would never live here, Mom. Why are you bringing us here? And I said, well, this is different. This is a business, so you have to cater to the right people. And I just still remember having that conversation with them. Yeah, I didn't like that house very good, stuff like that. But we took them with us a lot. When we started with the Rich Dad education. And our first year, we were gone a lot. My oldest daughter, because I was a single mom, you know my story, but a single mom at age 16. So my oldest daughter is quite a bit older than my next two. She's right now 43, and my next youngest is 18. So big age group. A lot of people used to think she was their mom. So she would stay at our house with them while we were gone. So that part worked out really, really good. And then when we went to Orlando and different stuff for conventions, we'd take them with us. And we actually just brought another girl along who was like a babysitter. She was older, but young enough to play with them and stuff. So there's always a way. I've always worked from home too, which I think is really key. So they don't even, most of the time they don't even think I work, because I'm there when they go to school, I'm there when they get home, stuff like that. So it's just different. They don't know anything else. I have friends who have a regular job. They got to be up at 6:30 in the morning, feed the kids, out the door by 7 to get them to daycare so that they can be at work at 7:30, 8 o'clock, back home at 5:30, feed them supper, homework, or maybe an activity, straight back to bed. Well, when our kids were young, they could easily stay up till 9 or 10. We didn't care because we didn't have to be up that early. And I'm an early riser, but I didn't care if the kids slept in. They didn't have to be at school till 9. So having that flexibility was always so important to me when the younger two came along, because as a single mom, I didn't have that flexibility. Both had just a regular job and also didn't have any money for the extra help and stuff that I needed. So there's always a way.
So let's dive into that, because my mom was a single mom, and actually I just interviewed another woman who is currently a single mom.
Mhm.
She was just on the episode before, Andressa Jadeli. And can we dive a little bit into like sort of that mindset? Because I think, because I grew up with a single mother until the age of 8, I think that mindset and that strength is huge. So dive into where you were at when you were 16 having your first child, and how that woman grew into you.
Well, that I actually also lived in subsidized housing and had subsidized daycare. So I just knew I didn't want to stay in that lifestyle. Like, I didn't know how. I did not know how that I was going to get out of it, but I always knew that I would. I just had no intention of staying in that position. I had my grade 12. I was always smart, not extremely so. I was kind of like a C student, entrepreneurial, I think, right from the start. Maybe not the best employee or whatever, but I I think that adversity that you have early in your life, all the shit that you go through makes you stronger. It is. And that's one thing, like as a mom, I don't want to take that away from my kids. I want them to struggle and grow and suffer a little. Like, it's not all gravy out there. And if you think it is, you're going to be sorely disappointed at some point in your life. So I make them work for their money, and I mean, they do have a pretty good life, but I don't just hand them everything. I don't act like, the coffers are unlimited. Go do whatever you want. Like, there's limits, and there's discipline, and there's expectations that go with that. And I think even just having money, there's expectations. There's expectations to share. There's expectations to, like, our house has always been the house to go to with our kids. We feed them, we give them, whatever. Like, our house is full. There's never oh, you can't eat here, or you can't have, snacks and stuff. So I think that's a nice, open, giving way to be, without giving cash or anything like that. We have always made it open like that. So I don't believe in taking those struggles away from your kids, though, because, if you think about it, half of our fun has been this growth part. Like, you go through the struggles to grow. That's what life's all about. Setting goals are meant for you to grow, not because you reach them, but because they're meant to grow. So all your goals should be growth related, money related, because that's a scorecard, but growth related. I even tell my girls, I don't want you to go to traditional university. I don't want you to get a traditional job. I'd rather pay money to have you follow around a guru like Tony Robbins or Bob Proctor or one of those guys. And their courses are not cheap to go with them, but I've just been looking into one of the Bob Proctor ones, $40,000 US. But I said, I would rather pay you to do that or pay for you to do that, as opposed to go to traditional school, because I know what you're going to come out with. And it's going to be the best mindset that'll just allow you to do whatever you want.
That is an amazing mindset. Just having them, not discounting the struggle, not giving your children like this amazing, like just glassy roadmap to success, like letting them figure out their way. And that tidbit you gave about education, that is key, because in today's society, I mean, does take like real like 4-year college, does that really matter in the end? Because I'm a theater major and English major. Do I use it? Sure I do, but I never became an English teacher. I'm certainly not doing theater.
Yeah.
So if I had gone and just followed Tony Robbins since I was a teenager, what kind of person would I be today? Would I be that much further? And I'm not regretting anything in going to 4-year college, but what you said is very true.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, she'll be 18 on March 2nd, and she graduates in June. And so she had to write an essay for school the other day, and it was called, it was something to do with your education and what your next steps were going to be. And she called her title, Why I've Chosen Not to Go to University. And she said, Mom, I just need to know that I did this right. So oh my gosh, I was so proud of her when she was done. And it was just like 2-3 paragraphs, but she said, my mom and dad have never done more than grade 12, but yet at the same time, they're continuously educating themselves. And they've got all these rental properties. And she said, my mom, when she was a single mom at age 16, just out of high school, actually earned $1,200 a month. And she pointed out to me that one tenant now pays her $1,200 a month, and she's got 500 of them, and what a powerful thing to even like teach the teachers, because the teachers, of course, they all went down that path. So they all think school is the be all and end all and the only thing to do. And so they encourage your kids, but you have to encourage your kids, that to look at all the options. And she said, I went to every single career day that they offered, and this is my decision. This is what I've decided. And she said, who knows? I'll probably get into being a salesperson, because I just think how fun that would be and how flexible that would be. And that's what I want, a fun, flexible life.
I love that. I love that. Well, let's talk a little bit more about that. Let's talk about mentorship and motherhood, because I know you're a mentor and I know that you have seen your, I was about to say children, but of course your children, but your students excel.
Yes.
How does that touch you from a mother's perspective?
You know, that's the biggest thrill I get out of life nowadays. When I have a conversation like that with my 18-year-old, I just feel like I did a good job, and you're always second guessing yourself. But when that kind of stuff comes out of their mouth at 18, you just go, oh, oh. And it's the same with my students when they have those conversations and they're talking about growing as a person. And we just took an 8-hour trip. We took one of the students with us because we were looking at a deal. And 25 years old, and he's already done so much. But just listening to him talk and helping him, think through a few things, it's just so powerful, makes you feel so good. And I told my daughter, I'm a mother mentor, but I've actually referred her to other mentors of mine to talk to and sent them to her classes. And she went to a goal achiever workshop just recently with my existing coach. And because I think that sometimes we can't take that cold, hard look at maybe their shortcomings and stuff, because we all think our kids are so perfect, right? But the coach can. I said, you know what? He'll kick your ass more than I would ever, because I still like to protect you a little bit. And of course, I love that you're doing this, but who knows? Maybe it's not the best thing for you. And he could see other maybe strengths and weaknesses in you that I don't.
Well, that's amazing. So, as a mother, and I totally see what you're coming from. Like, my mom sent me to other teachers. She used to teach hula, and so that's way beyond that's not real estate, but it's the same idea.
Yeah, it
Sending
is.
your children to other teachers, giving them other experiences, not only the ones that you can provide for them.
Yeah.
So, talking about experiences, please tell us about your mentorship program.
So I have a program called 90 Days to 5K. And the premise behind it is that in 90 days, you're going to know exactly what it's going to take for you to make 5,000 or more a month in cash flow from buildings. And the reason I called it that is that was our goal. When we started, we were making good money, but we wanted to do something on the side. And we thought, oh man, if we could make 5,000 a month from our properties, wouldn't that be cool? And we made a goal when we took our classes that we would own 50 properties. And we thought that was sky high. We just couldn't even think any higher than that. And that would give us, roughly $100 a month each for 5,000 a month, right? And didn't take into consideration mortgage pay down, all that kind of stuff. Didn't even think about it. And now, 12 years later, 13 years later, we got 520 doors. Had no intention of ever having that many doors. That was just like way beyond what we could think. But we hit that 5,000 a month goal, money in the bank, in 18 months. So I tell my students, with our mentorship, you could do it sooner.
Oh, I love your title because it's so not sensational. It's 90 days, $5,000.
Yeah.
It's not like you're promising $1 million, $1 billion, $1 cajillion like some of these mentorship programs do.
Yeah.
You're just telling them this is the real deal. I can help you in 3 months to make $5,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I love the realism of that.
Well, I've had students that have done way better than that or on track to do way better. But realistically, I mean, that was our goal. We couldn't even think any higher than that at that time. We just couldn't. Now we get over 25,000 a month in mortgage pay down alone, So that kind of stuff we didn't fathom. We didn't take it into account. But the mentorship is set up so that there's a learning portion. Every module has a homework assignment. So you learn and then you do. And I've seen students go through the whole course because they think they know everything, and they get to the end and they still don't buy a building. And they've probably done 50 other courses the same way. But I tell my students, this is what you do. You learn and then you do it. You learn and then you do it. So first homework assignment, let's build your vision and your power team. So when I tell you to build your power team, you've got to make appointments with realtors. You've got to make appointments with mortgage brokers, with lawyers. That's your power team. If you get 6 modules in and you're ready to make an offer and you don't have this lined up, well, then you're starting over. So do it in order so that when you're ready to make that offer, that part's already done. You already have those people lined up. You have investors you're already talking to. And that's why people can make those offers, get those accepted offers, and be doing deals quickly. But if you go through, and I've seen people do it, they buy it, they think, oh, I know most of this stuff, Edna. I'm just doing it for this. And
sorry, I'm nodding my head, and it's a podcast, so none of anyone who's listening can't see me nod my head. I so agree with you. This is for the mamas, the papas, anybody out there that's listening, please hear me and Edna. If you're going to get into a mentorship program, that means you're paying good money to learn this craft from somebody else that's done it. I have a mentorship program as well. I've seen the same thing that Edna is alluding to. Do not keep on buying into these mentorship programs unless you're going to take action. I've gotten to the point where I've actually dropped students because they're not taking action, and I don't want to take their money anymore. Yeah. Like I can't. Yeah. I just can't, because I know they're going to jump on with somebody else, and hopefully that somebody else gets them to take that action.
You know what I find is everybody thinks, and I do a lot of mindset training too, because I think that that's most people's biggest issue. And a lot of people think, I just need to know more. I just need to know more. I just need to know more. No, you don't need to know more. My course teaches you, and as I'm sure yours does too, everything you need to know to buy buildings. But people go off on tangents. Well, I'm going to do Airbnbs. Well, I'm going to do a fix and flip. Well, I'm going to, buy a land title, and, like all this stuff, because they're still watching every webinar out there. The best thing I ever did for myself was when I hired a mentor, I showed up for everything they put on, everything. And I got my dollar's worth, first of all, but I also took the action that they told me to do. It wasn't, oh, I'm just, I'll just add one more arrow to my quiver. It was, I took action on what they taught. Like one of my coaches back, when did I hire him? Maybe 2012. Was the one that taught me all about getting online. Like I didn't even know how to do a video on my phone. And I still remember the first few times, I was like, I was so nervous, my hand's shaking, and I could talk for like 2 minutes. Now I can get on and talk for like an hour. But I had to learn all of that, practice it, learn and practice, not just learn, but actually do the practice. I still have students where I say, do a video, do a newsletter, something that gets you in front of people. Lots of them do, and they're just having wonderful success. And then I had one guy reach out to me not too long ago, and he goes, I think he took 3 of my modules, and my ongoing live calls with students is unlimited. If the students want to come back in 2 years and start getting back on those live calls, same with access to the course. Once they bought it, it's theirs. They want to come back and start again. So I had one guy that wanted to start again after quitting after 3 months. So he did 3 modules, or at least I got 3 modules of homework. And one day he reached out and he goes, frankly, I thought I'd have a building by now. And I go, oh, really? By osmosis? You didn't even show up to learn anything. So I didn't hear from him for a little while again. Then he reaches out to me one day and he goes, Edna, he says, I got an investor lined up, but frick, I don't know what to say to him. You know what? It's all in the course. Every bit of it's in the course. Go back, because I can't be on the call with you and tell you everything. Like that's an hour-long module, what to talk about when you go to your investors. So what do? You just have, lovingly let them go, look after what they need to look after. But what I realized was those are mindset issues for people. So I have a full module on mindset alone, but I also have another coaching program that I do that's 100% on mindset, because people struggle with that. Why should I be a person that can own a multi-million-dollar apartment building? Like, why should I be the person that can make $5,000 a month in passive income? They don't feel their self-worth. They don't understand their value. So sometimes people have to work through that before they can attract their first investor, first of all. So then if you can attract investors, then you can buy the buildings. But that self-worth part sometimes has to come out too.
Tell me a little bit more about this mindset training, because this is something I could have definitely used at the beginning of this multifamily journey, because my husband and I were growing our fix and flip company, and that was doing fine. But we got into multifamily and I saw the numbers. At the time, I didn't realize I was doing this, but I had this mindset like blank. I was just like, no, that doesn't make sense in my head. Let's just stick with what we're doing. Those numbers just seem too good to be true. And I figured out I didn't feel like we deserved that success, that type of large success. And that took me a while to understand and learn. So I understand when people are having the same grievances with themselves. So what is your program called first? And then how can people join in?
Well, you know what? I actually just did a training on it last night, and it was called let me just write it, How to Make Your Mind a Money Magnet, the Secret to Never Ending Cash Flow. And that's the part that once you get it here, then you can do it. But you got to get it here first. Some people have it when they're starting with me, they're buying buildings shortly. The people who are struggling, this is what I recommend them to do. Because if you don't get over that, you're going to be struggling 5 years out and still thinking you need more education. You don't. You don't need more education. You need a mentor that will hold your hand through the challenging parts, and you need a certain amount of education. So how I do this, it's actually very unique. I think it's something that nobody else offers. I offer a 6-month coaching program, unlimited one-on-one calls with me, but only for 15 minutes. And the reason for that is it's laser focused. It's called laser focused coaching, and it's on your issue today. So I get to know you through some different questionnaires and stuff that we set up front. I get you to journal every day, certain things like homework assignments that I give you, reading assignments that I give you, stuff like that. Your homework assignment has to be completed before you can book your next call with me. So there's that accountability portion. You've got unlimited calls, but if the first time you're stuck, you have to do what I tell you to do, or you don't get to book a second call with me. So that it's worked very, very well, because it's that accountability portion. And sometimes I won't hear from people for 3 weeks because they're working on something, or they didn't get I get them to do something every single day, and if they didn't do it, they got to start over. So if they don't get it done, they don't get to book that call. And why hire me if you're not going to listen to what I say?
Exactly. And I know it's so funny, from the last time we spoke, that has stayed in my head. You made that point. Don't book time with a mentor, folks. Don't book time with a mentor unless you're going to listen. And if you figure out that you're not going to listen, either talk to that mentor and revamp what your partnership looks like, or find somebody that you'll listen to, because that's key. That is completely
And
key.
if you spend all the time on the call talking about your challenges and whatever else, and I think the journaling part, cover your challenges in there. I'll read it before a call. But if you spend all your time talking for that, and this is totally different from what most coaches do, right? They just listen and listen and listen. And I'm working with a coach myself, right? And I said, I don't want to be on a call for an hour at a time with people. I just don't want that. To me, that just kind of sounds like a nightmare. But if I can do short 15-minute calls where I'm actually adding value every single time, this is what you need to do. Because I get to know my students inside out, the ones that are working with me. I get to know them. I know what they need. I see what they need. And if they're not following it, there's a blind spot there in most cases that they're not seeing. And a lot of it is limiting beliefs back to when we were a kid. You weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Money doesn't grow on trees, Really? You think you can earn $100,000 a year? Really? You think you can have passive income without working your butt off? Hard work makes money. Education makes money. So many limiting beliefs that are so ingrained to us that we don't even realize. It's a snap and our thought goes through our head that fast that we don't even realize we think it.
That is amazing. So before I let you go, Edna, because you've given us so much information on motherhood, on mentorship, on really growing your business and really truly listening to the mentors in your life. If you could tell my mamas out there and just anybody who happens to be listening, one more thing, one key thing that they can do right now, what would it be?
Get a mentor, get a coach. That's got to be, that has been my biggest life changer, is working with coaches. And I've had just about always since 1999, I've had a coach. I'll change them based on what I'm working on, but I've always had somebody.
Very nice. And if somebody wants to contact you for coaching and mentorship, where do they go?
Well, I'm on Facebook all the time, so if they look me up as Coach Edna Keep, they can watch some of my free stuff and just see if it's something that I resonate with them. I don't resonate with everyone. And then they can reach out to me. My email address is edna@ednakeep.com, and my website is ednakeep.com. So all very easy to follow. You can find me. And if you want to get on my email list, you'll get to see all the different stuff that I offer. We have a 3-day live event coming up very soon in our city that's geared towards multifamily and mindset, again, because I'm a big believer in mindset. But yeah, if they're looking for individual coaching, either to get into multifamily or to help them get over those limiting beliefs that they have, that's the best way to find me.
Fantastic. And thank you so much, Edna, for coming back on. It's always a pleasure.
It's my pleasure too. You're such a joy to talk to, and I absolutely love what you're doing as well. Like, I love meeting other women who are just providing the world so much value, because you're a leader that shows people that you can just do this. You don't have to go the hard way. You could go the easier route.
Exactly. And just provide value wherever you go. That's something you've taught me, definitely, every time we've spoken. So again, thank you, Edna. And thank you, everyone who's listened out there. I am so grateful. I'll see you later. Bye now.